Hey everybody, so now we're doing Jeopardy for Chapter 9, and if you look at the top, the columns correspond with each of the chapter learning outcomes. So we're going to start with pro-social motives for 100. The empathy-altruism hypothesis suggests that at least some pro-social behavior is motivated by what? Solely by the desire to help someone in need. So whereas and sometimes it might just be for purely purposes to feel better or to look good to others, some people do pro-social things just because they want to help somebody. So along with this, you want to familiarize yourself with the empathy-altruism hypothesis. Okay, so now we're going to do pro-social motives for 200. Activity in what brain region indicates that there is a neural foundation for empathy? What is the mirror neuron region? Okay, so pro-social motives for 300. On his walk to work, Marlon witnessed a pedestrian get hit by a bus. The man survived but was badly injured, and witnessing this made Marlon very upset. Near his office, he saw a homeless man and gave the man $20, an action that he'd never done before. Marlon's behavior can be explained by what model? What is the negative state belief model? Okay, so pro-social for 400. Raphael helps Lisa carry her groceries up the stairs. Lisa comes by 15 minutes later and says, "Thank you. The frozen food would have melted if you hadn't helped me." Because of her response to his help, Raphael is motivated to help others later. This scenario is referred to as the empathic joy hypothesis. Okay, and finally, pro-social motives for 500. Jeanette's cousin and close friend, Ellen, notices that Jeanette's right eye is badly bruised. When Jeanette tells her that her boyfriend hit her, Ellen offers to provide help. This example best illustrates what is that people are much more inclined to help a close relative than a non-relative. And so this is really tapping into the kin selection theory, which suggests that we help others who are related to us because this increases the likelihood that our genes will be transmitted to future generations. Okay, so who helps for 100? Scooch this down here. At school, Carl falls down the stairs and badly sprains his ankle. When will he most likely receive help? So if you look at these options, is he going to receive help between class periods when the halls are filled with students rushing to class? Is it going to be option B, after the last class period of the day as students are getting ready to go home? Option C, during the lunch hour when only a few students are in the hallway? Or D, before school starts when only one other student is in the hallway? So he's going to most likely be receiving help D, before school starts when only one other student is in the hallway. And so this is illustrating the diffusion of responsibility, where the greater the number of witnesses to an emergency, the less likely victims are to receive help. This is because each bystander assumes that someone else will be assuming responsibility for helping. Okay, so this is who helps for 200. Alan is running late for his social psychology class. He is hurrying across campus and is thinking about the instructor's reaction to his tardiness on an exam day. He passed by a small group of students clustered around someone who's lying on the ground, clutching his chest and gasping for breath. Alan didn't stop to help because he simply wasn't aware of what was happening at the time. This failure to engage in pro-social behavior was probably due to Alan's what? What is? Not paying attention to the situation. If you look at the steps to helping, this is the first step, which is noticing that something unusual is happening. You have to first notice before you can help. So let's go to who helps for 300. Okay, Wayne and Cheryl were at a restaurant eating dinner when he noticed a faint smell of smoke coming from the air conditioning vent. No one else in the busy restaurant seemed to be concerned about the odor, and Wayne wasn't sure if it was the result of an electrical problem or food scorching in the kitchen. Wayne's uncertainty, combined with the observation that others weren't taking action, means Wayne will probably do what? What is? He won't do anything. This is the second step to helping, where we have to interpret the event as an emergency, as in the case of Kitty Genovese. This is a tendency for an individual surrounded by a group of strangers to hesitate and do nothing, and it's based on pluralistic ignorance. The third step to helping is accepting responsibility for helping. Who helps for 400? Oscar is alone, resting on a beach when he notices someone who appears to be floundering in the ocean. Since he doesn't know how to swim, Oscar realizes that he can't help this individual himself. This example illustrates that people, often decide that they cannot help when they don't know what to do. So this is the fourth step to helping, is deciding that you have the knowledge or skills needed to help. And then finally, who helps for 500? Emily is out for a leisurely drive and just witnessed the car in front of her on the highway slow to a stop and pull off to the side of the road. The driver got out of the vehicle and lifted the hood. She is very adept at fixing cars, and there aren't too many other cars on the road. After considering helping for a bit, Emily continues to drive past the stranded motorist. Why does she do this? What is? Because she's concerned that the driver might be setting up a trap or trick. So this is the fifth step to helping, where we decide to actually help. Okay, so the third learning objective is factors that increase or decrease helping. And so we're going to do this for 100. Scooch this down. Ron and Elaine are walking down the street when they see someone helping an old man across the road. On the next block, they see a woman having difficulty in trying to get across the street. Elaine says we'd better give her a hand. The woman who initially helped the old man acted as a what? What is a prosocial model? All right, for 200, how does socioeconomic status affect prosocial behavior? What is? People with lower socioeconomic status show greater prosocial behavior than those higher in socioeconomic status. So here, the reason why this might happen is because they're more likely to feel dependent on others or need others for survival. They report that they have less control over their lives, which leads them to form stronger connections to others who face the same situation. So people who are lower in socioeconomic status tend to have a higher need for affiliation. Okay, so for 300, people who feel isolated from a particular group are experiencing what type of exclusion? What is social exclusion? So the negative effects of social exclusion include an undermining of self-esteem, feelings of social isolation, less satisfaction with their lives, and this also reduces their tendency to help because they have reduced feelings of empathy, and they perceive excluders particularly as hurtful or aggressive. Okay, for 400, describe the relationship between anonymity and adherence to social norms. What is? Increased anonymity decreases social norm adherence and also reduces helping. So here you want to familiarize yourself with the readings about how darkness tends to increase anonymity and thus reduce helping. And like this has been found even when people are wearing sunglasses, that they have this like higher sense of anonymity and are less likely to help. Okay. So finally, for 500, okay. Many of the neighbors in a community are part of a neighborhood watch group on Facebook. One day during working hours, each group member receives an alert on their phone saying urgent help needed. 2 children are stuck in a tree at a park and cannot climb down. Which of the following people would be most likely to leave his or her workplace to help? Is it going to be Matt, an attorney, Jillian, an accountant, Arnold, a general physician, or Darlene, a tax preparation specialist? What is Arnold, a general physician? And this really has to do with our economic value that we place on our time. So Arnold, because he's a general physician, he bills according to the procedures performed rather than time. And all the other folks here that we mentioned, the attorney, the accountant, the tax preparation specialist, they all bill according to their time. So when we place an economic value on our time, it tends to decrease the likelihood of our helping because we see it as like a hindrance to our ability to make money, essentially. Okay, so crowdfunding for 100. Why is crowdfunding considered a pro-social behavior? Well, crowdfunding is a process where entrepreneurs describe the products or services their new company will provide and ask people to contribute. And the reason why it's considered a pro-social behavior is because contributors really don't receive much in the way of getting anything in return from their donations. They might get like a little token or something, but they're really kind of doing it for altruistic purposes. It benefits communities. The companies that the entrepreneurs start often provide jobs and contribute to economic growth. Okay, so for 200, why does being in a positive mood sometimes decrease the probability of responding in pro-social ways? What is being in a good mood can lead us to interpret the emergency situations as not really serious. So this is especially true if it involves actions that are difficult or will detract from our good mood. Okay, crowdfunding for 300. Dania is in a really bad mood after receiving a low score on an exam. She mopes, complains, and is curt with her friends. Later in the day, she goes to volunteer at a local homeless shelter. Why does she do this? What is? She knows that helping others will make her feel better. Hold on just a second. And so this is consistent with the negative state relief model that we discussed at the beginning. Okay, so for 400. Okay, while walking down Madison Avenue, Thomas smelled smoke. Soon he saw flames leaping out of a third-story apartment window. In a flash, he saw another man running into the burning building and emerge only a minute later with a young girl in his arms. Witnessing this made him feel hopeful about humans and our ability to help each other. Thomas felt what is elation. Okay, opposites for 100. True or false? Prosocial behavior and aggression are polar opposites. What is false? Truth is, they actually have several overlapping features. Opposites for 200. One person punctures the skin of another who cries out in pain. Is this an aggressive action? What is? Not if the person's a tattoo artist. Okay, opposites for 300. How might aggression be beneficial? 1, if the motive is intended to help the person improve in some capacity, like a coach with an athlete, for instance. How might it be harmful? What is, if it's unwanted, it could undermine self-esteem and confidence. And finally, for 500, why are people like those in Mean Girls appealing? What is, they combine aggressive actions with pro-social ones. And that concludes this chapter.